Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, a very special Captain America Brave New World review edition of My Mom's Basement. It is Robbie, Fox, and Clem, and we just got home from the movies. We literally saw the first showing we could at the Alamo Draft House up in Yonkers. We met at a good halfway point between me and Clem, north of the wall, and I don't know what you would call Jersey, the armpit of America, whatever you want to call it. I don't approve of that, but that's what people call
Jeez,
it.
Bob, I wasn't gonna say it.
Listen, I like being self-deprecating. That's a thing about us Jersey kids. We're able to do that. But we saw the first showing we could. We got right back home. We hopped in the basement. And I think we said in our preview video, which we did like a preview post recap video as well, the instant recap. You could check that on the channel. We went in hoping for the best, prepared for the worst. And this movie falls somewhere in the middle of those two things.
Yes, I saw someone say, I think the perfect review for this movie. It
Okay.
is aggressively mid.
Yeah, we went in with low expectations, right? There were reviews all over the place the night that the embargo lifted. There were great reviews, there were horrible reviews, there were very mid reviews. I blogged all of them being like, I don't really know what to believe. The Rotten Tomatoes score comes out this morning, 48%, and you're like, ugh. But again, Rotten Tomatoes, you don't know what to believe. We were talking about it on the way to the movies. If you want to believe Rotten Tomatoes, Shang-Chi is a 92, way better than Infinity War. It's one of the best movies in the MCU. It's fucked up.
That's crazy that Shang-Chi got us. And these are two guys that I think liked it. I haven't watched it since. I've had an urge to, but I did like some cool stuff they did in it. But then this kind of comes back to and you're the one who saw, I believe, a tweet. But the whole thought of that people were nicer or easier on the MCU before Endgame because I think Thor had a 67, Thor 2.
Thor the Dark World, yeah, 67 fresh, which is mostly most people consider that the worst Marvel movie.
Iron Man 3, I think, had a 72, which is the worst of the
fresh.
Iron Man movies.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, not Quantumania, just Ant-Man and the Wasp has an 87, which if that came out today, I think would have a score comparable to Captain America Brave New World. And you might say that's because we're used to it now. So like we expect Marvel to evolve. I think that's a decent take as well. But the Rotten Tomatoes score, you just can't believe. But it did lower our expectations, I would say, going in. We were kind of like, this could be bad. We left the movie being like, it wasn't that bad. I will say in the hour or 2 hours, whatever it's been since we left the theater, the more I think about it, I think the less I like it, which breaks my heart a little bit to say as a Cat fan. But I truly didn't hate it. I do think it's a good movie. I feel comfortable saying it's a good movie. It's not great, but it's enjoyable enough if you're an MCU fan. If you're not a diehard MCU fan, I would imagine this movie does nothing for you.
Okay, so this is, I think, a disconnect we're going to have, and I just think it's a disconnect on our language, because you said this in the video where we're talking. You're like, it's a good movie. You're like, Black Widow, it's a good movie. It's kind of, it's above the Black Widow line, which I think is a good way to put this in people's heads.
That's the closest movie I think I would compare it to. Like, in the terms of how it felt, the quality, the performances, like, I felt like those two are on a similar playing field. Honestly, I would put this somewhere between, like, Black Widow and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I would say it's not as good as Ant-Man and the Wasp, but it's better than Black Widow, somewhere in that range.
So this is the thing, the G word. You keep saying good.
Yeah.
And then you said great. And this is actually a random take I have for sports. I don't like when people say this guy is a great player when he's a good player. And that happens a lot. I feel like we've lost the word great has lost its meaning, which then means the word good loses its meaning because it's less than great, and then average and so forth, but more so great. And then when great isn't being held to the high standard. Endgame is a great movie, right?
Great. Phenomenal.
Infinity War, great movie. I didn't even say Iron Man 1, great movie.
Of course.
Pick
Guardians
your favorite Marvels, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would say the 3 fucking Captain America movies before this one.
But then it's like good. I don't think Black Widow is good, right? But I think you could say there's
really?
Like, no,
I don't. It's good.
I don't think so. I don't think we've really had much good since Endgame, which is, again, I do think, like you said, a lot of those reviews before Endgame, and they're like, all right, Marvel, you are now held to a higher standard than you were beforehand. And I think that's a part of it. So yeah, the more I think of this movie, the more I realize I will never rewatch it, which I don't rewatch a lot of the newer ones. That's fine. This is my question to you. All things considered, would you say this was better than the show or worse than the show?
Oh, that's a good question. I was actually thinking, imagine this was released on Disney Plus. I think we would all be like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Which isn't like, that's not saying much.
Yeah.
But like, I was thinking that I would say this was, it might be, I would say it's better than the show. I was going to say it might be less memorable than the show because the show had moments like the John Walker flag smash, and it had so much more time to let these things breathe. This movie was kind of one thing to the next. And one of my big issues with this movie is it doesn't feel like Sam Wilson had any character development. Like he didn't go from one place to another. If you were to say what was his arc, I think it's realizing he is worthy of the Steve Rogers mantle without the super serum, which is his exact arc in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They just like repeated a couple beats. And we'll get into spoilers, right? Spoilers for the whole movie at this point. Don't continue watching if you want something spoiled, because I'm about to spoil something. That conversation with Bucky, the cameo. We got one nice cameo, and I enjoyed that. We mentioned on the ride over, I said that I would really like for Bucky to even be in a quick scene here because he's been in every other Captain America movie. I liked that scene, but that scene was just like a 5-minute recap of the show in a way, right? And it gets a little corny, and they call out the corniness of the like, hey, would speechwriter do that? But it was like, oh, but a lot of this movie, the first 10, 15 minutes especially, is recapping stuff. In the first 10, 15 minutes, I was really worried. And I think that might have, like, the fact that the movie got so much better than it started might also contribute to me leaving in more of a good mood than I thought I would be in. I would say I was slightly disappointed by Captain America Brave New World. I had a good time at the movies, though, because I love seeing the MCU progress. It's going to take a lot, like an Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, for me to leave like in a really bad mood. So I'm not the best judge. You guys know. If you're listening to My Mom's Basement at this point, you're like, Robbie, we fucking know. You're the positive guy. Like, I know that. But yeah, it does. I saw reviews saying it felt like a really high budget episode of the TV show, and I can see that. It kind of feels like this was the big finale. This was the bonus episode.
Yes, this was our bonus episode. The first 20 minutes or so felt like the TV show, high budget, whatever you want to say. It's like, oh, we got Harrison Ford in it now. I'm happy you brought up Quantumania because you texted me before we went live. And you said you said that was exactly 2 years ago.
2 years ago today. I'll show the picture right now. If you're watching on the YouTube feed, I texted this to Clem. Look at those happy faces.
They're so excited.
Posing in front of a Jonathan Majors poster with our giant Ant-Man tickets. We're like, oh my God, this is about to kick off the Kang era. Here we go. We left that disheveled. We were absolutely, we needed consoling after that. So I think maybe, as you're saying, I think leaving this just in a better mood, is it like, all right, I don't think anyone's leaving this being like the MCU's doomed in the way that they were then. I think they might be leaving this being like, yeah, the MCU is like treading water.
Yes.
I think Clemmer texted me that. He said, does it feel like it's treading water? I said, yeah, I think if you're not a diehard MCU fan, it probably does feel like that.
That's the perfect way to describe it. And I actually think that is the big takeaway from this movie. It's fine. I mean, we had like hashtag please don't suck before we went into the movie.
Yeah, and it didn't suck, right?
At the end, we said hashtag it didn't suck. And listen, suck is reserved for like the worst of the worst, like the way Secret Invasion, and where it's a Quantumania, even where I guess the expectations had maybe we're just getting better at like being ready for this, because Quantumania, when the lights went on, was the first time I think we ever both said, didn't like that, because usually I can get the positive side of Robbie, and then if it's something good like Deadpool, we're like, yes, they fucking nailed it for
that
what
was
it
awesome.
is.
Leaving the theater that night, what a feeling that was. Yeah,
but this movie in particular, and you kind of alluded to with Captain America, it's like I would have liked some more progression where it's like, all right, now we're on the next part of this. I don't know if it's a phase or just get us to. They just want to get us to Avengers at this point and just get us through there. But it's like we didn't even drive anywhere. We just basically like went on a little Disney ride, went in a circle. There was a couple cool things, which was basically the Red Hulk, let's be honest. And then we got off the ride and we're back to where we were 2 hours prior. For better or worse, that's just what it was. And I think you do that for a Shang-Chi movie. You do that for a Black Widow movie that's like a flashback, because obviously R.I.P. in peace. My dog, is it? I guess it's my bitch. My bitch, Natasha Ramadoff, or is it dog?
I guess, yeah. I mean,
my girl?
I would go dog. I would go dog.
I would go dog. Okay, fair enough.
I did see someone had a funny comment. We watched the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer before this, and there was a comment online when they go dangling over the cliff and she's got the rope, and it's like, I bet she wish she had that rope in the MCU.
Oh, too soon. Still too soon. But like I'm saying though, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, stuff like that, I could live with, like, kind of just like, hey, this is the character and we're just going to do a circle. Cap, this is, the first Avenger. We need this guy. I wanted him to push the whole universe forward, even if it was just a little, or even give us signs.
Just the tush push.
Future. Yes, give us the tush push. 1 yard. That's all we're asking. It's a big yard, but it's a yard nonetheless. I'm not asking for a touchdown, tush push. I'm asking for a first down tush push at like midfield, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like they just didn't do it. They turned the ball over on downs.
Was this one, like, was it a turnover, or was this like it got snapped and it looked like the QB was about to be sacked 7 times and he eventually got up to no loss of yards, and we're at the same exact spot we were before, and now it's like maybe it's 4th down or maybe it's 3rd down now.
You know what? To continue this analogy, they called timeout before it was snapped. He didn't get it, but they called timeout. So they still have a chance. And luckily,
because it could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse. And especially knowing what they dealt with in real life, which they dealt with in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, COVID. In this one, they dealt with having to basically cut out like an Israeli super soldier, Sabra, I think her name was. I had to look that up because I didn't even remember it from the movie. She's such a inconsequential part of the movie. It feels like they cut her character out of it. So like, I know they had to do reshoots, and clearly they added stuff in reshoots as well. Giancarlo Esposito, his entire part felt like it was added in reshoots. I think it was, and it felt entirely inconsequential. He's good in it because he's good in everything, but there's nothing memorable he says or does in the movie, really. It's just, it feels like a weird role for all of these years of fan casts. Maybe you don't want to give him Professor X or Doctor Doom, but Sidewinder in this movie, he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you hear how so many people like revered him after the whole Gus Fring arc on Breaking Bad, and I feel like people are just trying to make it. And I've said this about him in Mando too. Kind of stinks. Like, it's like such a cool actor, and has his, I guess,
I like him in Mando. I like Moff Gideon.
I know, but I kind of was like,
killing him and bringing him back a bunch was silly, but like, I like him as Moff Gideon.
And this one was just a big fat nothing burger for me. And
it was weirdly inconsequential. Like you said, nothing burger. It wasn't bad, wasn't good, and that's, unfortunately, that's a lot of this movie. It's like, I feel like I like it because I know I'm biased, but I'm really trying to be unbiased. I'm trying to start to get a little better because I know people are like, yeah, your word means nothing, Robbie. You fucking like all this shit. I do put on my letterbox. They say I like most movies, especially if there's lightsabers or superheroes in them.
You can't stop a golden retriever from being a golden retriever. If Robbie, you ring the doorbell, Robbie's coming, his tail's wagging, he's licking you, and he's just happy to see you. That's how it is. When Marvel rings the door, when Star Wars rings the door.
That's very true. Honestly, that's how I feel every time. And it might be like,
not every time.
Someone comes in who didn't treat me very well. I might still be excited. And then, but then I forget, it's like, oh shit, I'm so excited. And then I'm like, I got caught again.
Yeah, that's basically Jurassic World Park, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah. We turned to each other. We were like, oh, here we go. And then they end it with the John Williams music, and we're like, all right, we'll be there.
It's so fucked up. But we're also saying this as people that do a podcast, and like, not just about the movies or the shows, but previews and talking about all the news. And it's like, we have been let down so much times. And you said it, like, our first podcast together was for Endgame, and it feels like we're Tony Soprano, where we got in just as the good days were ending. And it's like, we've been so beaten down. We've had a few ups for sure, But
Yeah,
man, like,
and the ups feel great, and I'm sure it's like, to continue the sports analogies, if you're a Washington Commanders fan, say, a lot of downs, and when you get the ups, they just feel amazing. That was Guardians 3 for us. That was Spider-Man No Way Home for us, or even this year we had Deadpool and Wolverine, like you mentioned. Like, we've had some huge ups, and we have had some big downs, but for the most part, we've had these where it's like, all right, what do you got next? All right, what do you got next for us? Every movie kind of leads me feeling like that, and they're not really connecting. You said if you even want to call this a phase, I agree with that. It feels weird how disconnected things are and how spread out things are. The fact that we can get right into the post-credit scene here. The fact that this was the post-credit scene for the last time we're going to see the leader of the Avengers before the next Avengers movie is insane. How do you not have him meet at least one new Avenger we haven't seen him on screen with before? How easy is that? Plop him in a fucking warehouse somewhere, an aircraft carrier. It would make sense with the character, right? Have him meet Shang-Chi. Have him talk to Doctor Strange. Do the mid-credit scene where the leader tells him this. He tells him threats are coming. It's again, kind of a nothing burger. And then do the post-credit scene where he informs the other Avengers, hey, I think we got to start strapping up. Like, it was just frustrating for me to watch that post-credit scene and have it be fine.
yeah, and I used the credit after. I used the app after credits, and it tells you not just obviously Marvel movies, but any movie. If there's a mid credits and post credits, and it's the perfect way to. Am I going to sit here for 10 minutes looking at names or not? And I saw they tell you if they have one or both, and then it'll give what the audience said in terms of approval if it was worth it, basically. And it was at 67% approval rating, and like I've seen 90% for something that's not even that great, and I said,
Yeah.
67, that is not a good sign. This isn't Rotten Tomatoes here. This one I trust a little
Yeah.
bit more than the Rotten Tomatoes meter, and I have to say they lived up to it. If he had even said the others are coming, and then we get a frame of one of the others, if it's a multiversal thing, if it's an outer space thing, an alien thing, some sort of whatever it may be.
Dude, show us a green curtain. Zoom in on a green curtain, and we're gonna go, it's Doctor Doom's cape. And we leave like coming ourselves. It's so simple to please Marvel fans in that moment. Post-credit scenes should be the easiest thing, and that's a weird thing that they've fumbled in this phase for a lot of posts. They just keep introducing these characters where we're like, are they ever going to follow up on that? Are we ever going to see Roy Kent as Hercules again? Are we ever going to see Charlize Theron? Are we ever going to see Harry Styles and Blorgo or whatever his fucking little gnome's name was?
Dude, it's so funny too, because this movie, a huge part of it is the Celestial, the thing that they ignored for years now, and then it was a huge point of it. Which, listen, everyone was saying, how the fuck has nobody mentioned that giant creature coming out of the ground?
Yeah,
they did it. They made it a huge thing, and then it's just kind of like it happened. It had adamantium, and it was like the center of a potential.
I really
war.
thought they were going to land on it at some point. We were going to see them mining the adamantium or some shit. It's truly a backdrop for a battle. Yeah. And I kind of like the way they use it in terms of like, I like the idea of the government squabbling over it and the leader being able to use the adamantium to pit Japan and the United States against each other. I actually thought some of that stuff was well done. The writing wasn't strong across the board, but I thought that was fine. It was just like, I don't know. You're going to use that as a backdrop the first time you finally acknowledge it. I also was holding out hope that they were going to have like a meta joke in that moment when Harrison Ford's given the presentation. He's like, and for years, we've done what we always do. We squabbled over it or whatever. I was hoping he was going to say, we ignored it. I thought that would have been so funny. And like, they do the meta mustache joke, you know? That was another thing. The humor in this movie, I would say it was like 50-50 landing for me. And that's a tough hit rate because I'm pretty easy with Marvel humor, I think.
But I will say the stuff that landed well. I think
there were some good jokes for sure.
The Cap and Falcon have a good relationship, and it was a very I said it kind of felt like Ant-Man kind of jokes and kind of the kind of rapport that they had, which is good.
Every time Ant-Man was mentioned, I laughed. They had some good Ant-Man mentions in the movie.
Ant-Man stuff was really good as well. So, but there was some humor that was just like, nope, this just swatted away kind of a thing.
A lot of this stuff in the opening fight scene, like that first 10 minutes we talked about being choppy. I didn't love the like Sam Wilson getting hit and being like, oh, hold on, I can do this. 1 second. It just seems so like cliche Marvel to me. That's the stuff people make jokes about Marvel doing. So that I was rolling my eyes at a little bit.
You know, it would have been a good arc. And listen, I don't know if this would be like blasphemy because of the comics or this and that. Like, how about someone just fucking stuck his fucking ass with a super serum syringe, and he has to like live with like, I don't want this, but I have it. That's the other thing. Like,
I would be down for that. I mean, you have the perfect person. Like, you could have had Ross demand that. Or something.
Exactly.
Like, hey, if we're gonna work together, boom.
He'd be conflicted, and it's not something he even did. It literally was just like forced upon him. I think that would have been a cool thing with the character. And then at the end, when he's like, he's under the rocks, I'm like, this motherfucker should be dead. He's a normal human being. And I can't, maybe it's like, I shouldn't really like, I should suspend belief or disbelief or whatever the phrase is. But with him, it's like, it always comes back in my mind. I'm like, this is Cap. Oh, wait, he doesn't have the super serum, and he should be fucking dead 10 times over.
That was funny as we were in the theater. Clem just said to me, he's like, I think he should just take the super soldier serum. Or maybe it was on the drive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why he doesn't. And we talked about it. Like, John Walker had the roid rage. Steve Rogers, no side effects. It seems like if you're a good person, super soldier serum can do nothing but good to you. I liked his joke in the end for the battle where he was like, Bucky was fucking bullshitting me. I should have taken that serum. Like, that was good, but it's like he's realizing, like, yeah, dude, it's true that you give people something to aspire to, not just something to believe in. I liked that line. That felt very Stan Lee to me. But just take the serum at this point, dude. You're going to have to go up against Hulks and aliens and multiversal threats, and the leader's telling you, hey, dude, like, you're just nerfing yourself for no reason.
Maybe like they're setting us up for Doomsday when like Reed Richards, someone's like, yo, put some fucking
like,
super serum in your ass. We need a man. We need a captain. Not this little.
It's going to be a scene. It's going to look like a 1980s WWF locker room, and they're going to be passing needles around. The Avengers are going to be like, Sam, you're coming with this space with us. You're doing some super soldier serum. By the way, I did some super soldier serum today. I forgot to put the video in our instant reaction recap on YouTube, so I'm going to put it in the podcast. I tried the Alamo Draft House special mocktail. It had no alcohol in it. I didn't realize it had Red Bull in it, so I did like an energy drink. It was the super soldier serum. I ordered it, and the server, I'm not going to trash her, but she was like, the super spider serum. Sure.
Oh, I heard that, and I was like, Robbie's not going to like that.
That's not canon. That is just not canon. But it was a lime drink, and it was green. How weird is that? How do you not make it blue? I said, is that Marvel copyright? Is that like George Lucas going to sue somebody? Is that like Kevin Feige going to sue somebody? I don't know.
Maybe, but like, would you be like, honestly, in this era of the MCU, I could have seen them like make a Marvel drink themselves and it not have been the right color because they seemed like
and then it's a multiverse color. That seems to be the cover up for everything. Multiverse.
They're like, oh, we hired this great mixologist who has never seen a Marvel movie in his life and doesn't read the comic books. That's who we had in charge of all.
We told him to stay away from the comics, actually, to have his own creative vision, the secret invasion. So I'll put that video in right here, also featuring bonus Clem Arnold Palmer review. Here you go.
Oh yes.
All right, we're mid pre-show. Clem got an Arnold Palmy, and I've got the Super Soldier Serum, which is a lime drink. I thought it would be blue. I got a water too. Lime drink. It's non-alcoholic. It has Red Bull Tropical, Liber & Co. ginger syrup, and lime juice. I like lime juice. Honestly, I didn't realize it had Red Bull, and I'm doing an energy drink. It's mid-afternoon, though. It'll wake me up, get me ready for this Super Soldier Serum. Here we go. How do you not make it blue? Here we go.
One sip, everyone knows girls.
Oh, it's good. It's actually, I was worried it would be too like sweet or citrusy. It's good. I might be, who knows, leaving this movie looking like Chris Evans.
Hardest part about non-prime mix it.
I know, it looks better before you mix it. All right. Drink review from you as well. Arnold Palmy review.
Who kind of actually has some pretty good points.
Not too sweet, but not too bland. We're going with a good 8-1 right now.
Okay, appreciate that. This I didn't give a score. If I'm going ball scale, which we own the IP to.
I gotta go ball scale. 4.05 ball scale.
Yeah, I would go. I would actually go like 3.8 ball scale. I like this.
Feel that energy coursing?
I feel it coursing through my veins. All right, we'll see you on the other side.
Hit him with an ad now.
We're going to hit you with an ad now. And the ad is for HelloFresh. Right outside this door, Lady Fox is making some HelloFresh. If you're tired of figuring out what's for dinner night after night, especially on those busy weekdays, get dinner done the easy way thanks to HelloFresh. It's easy to find time to eat well with 50 wholesome, hassle-free meals to choose from each week, delivered right to your door. HelloFresh's new ready-made meals go from the fridge to your fork in just 3 minutes. So easy and so good. It's the same high-quality ingredients and restaurant-worthy flavor you expect from HelloFresh, just none of the work. You pop it right in the microwave. It's perfect. Only their line of prep and bake meals come together with only 5 minutes of prep, minimal mess, so your oven does most of the work, not even you, and their 15-minute meals are done in 3 simple steps. You can eat better this year without all the hassle, and this is kind of like your super soldier serum, you know? You could treat your body right, and then you could start being like the next Captain America, maybe.
And then you wash it down with some super serum and put a little blue dye in it so it is blue. And
exactly. Get up to 10 free meals and a free high-protein item. Ooh, protein. That'll help you.
I need the protein.
For life, Clem. At HelloFresh.com/Fox10FM. Fox, Fox 10FM. 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan, but that's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/Fox10FM. HelloFresh, great stuff. And I could see Sam Wilson eating stuff like this with Joaquin Torres.
Lifetime subscription stuff is just amazing.
I love that. What if you're a super soldier? What if you are one of these guys, 110 years old, 110 years later? That was a great line. I liked that line when Saber was kind of like, ooh, he was taller than I expected. He had a good smile, too. His figure was looking good. Sam was just like, he's 110.
That is when I think this movie was at its best, is when they were going into comic references. They had other characters. That is when I was happy. It was some of the action stuff, some of the explanations of how, you know, the conflicts I didn't love, and then the resolutions I didn't love, and it just was like, oh, and we're done here, and we're gonna move along to the next scene. But anytime there was something that like brought the books in, I felt fucking good. Or just you referenced the movie, like you said, the Bucky cameo, it wasn't really all that important, but it was like, oh,
I liked it. Yeah.
Now we didn't get anything with Sharon though.
Nothing with the fucking power broker. What are you saving the power broker for? Like
saving the power broker
like
for?
This also, a lot of the stuff we can go, I think it would be good to go like kind of character by character and talk about them. But the fact that we have Samuel Stearns, the leader, and Thaddeus Ross, and you're doing a Betty Ross thing, it almost feels like they like remembered that The Incredible Hulk was a movie. It was like they found these toys behind a dresser. You know, they weren't in the bin. They fell behind the dresser and they were like, oh shit, we have these action figures. We could play with these. Like, very strange to follow up on that 18 years later or 16 years later, whatever it is.
And I mean, I don't know how many people saw it, right? And then how many people remember it, how many people liked it. I just wish there was another way they could have brought that. It was tough. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Let's go character by character here. Sam Wilson, Captain America, we mentioned. No character development. They repeated some of the beats from the show. I think he is very likable in this role, and he feels so comfortable as Sam Wilson. Anthony Mackie does. Like, he seems like he snaps into this. It might just be an extended version of himself, like wrestling style, like Anthony Mackie turned up to 11 as Sam Wilson. Yeah. And also, like, I don't know, you know, more morality, or he's a figure to aspire to be, whatever. But he's great in the role, and I loved every scene between him and Harrison Ford that was like kind of serious. I thought that's where the movie was at its best for me. The scene in the beginning where he tells him he wants to reform the Avengers, that was kind of like got my heart racing a little bit when he said that. I was like, oh shit. Afterwards, when the assassination attempt happens and he's like, I know Isaiah Bradley didn't do that. And everyone else is, not everyone, but Sabra and Harrison Ford in the room are like, we just watched it happen, asshole. What the fuck? Do you think what do you think the optics of this? Captain America should let his fucking buddy out of jail. That was such a good scene in my mind because I agreed with both characters.
Yep.
I was like, I see where you're both coming from. And then even the stuff later on between them when they're in the battle outside of the fucking Celestial, and they're talking to each other and they're in each other's face and they don't like each other at that point. I thought they were great together. And I also loved him with Danny Ramirez playing Joaquin Torres. Like their romance, whatever you want to call it. I love not romance, obviously.
I was going to say, wait, is there more I'm about to find
it's
out
Valentine's Day, right? It's Valentine's week. Which we said they should have also leaned into that way more. The releasing on Valentine's Day, they should have done bromance marketing. They should have had box of chocolates shaped in the Captain America shield, something with Red Hulk. The fact that you have red Valentine's, there was a lot of swings and misses here, but listen, I'm trying to be positive still. I loved the vibranium wings and how he used them in this movie. Badass. The way he's stabbing people with the wings. The flight scenes I thought were cool when he's got the mask on and he's fucking doing twirls. The way Red Wing uses the shield and blocks him. He's like surfing or skateboarding on a fucking nuke at one point, or not a nuke, but a missile. Like I thought the action in this scene was pretty well done, and he does some wild tricks with the shield. It almost feels like going from Steve Rogers to Anthony Mackie here with the shield itself. Like the league has evolved and the players are a little bit faster and they're doing a little bit more tricks now because, oh my God, he was doing fucking kick flips with it. And he was throwing it off walls here and there and bouncing it off. The physics, I still love that. I love that we're keeping up the tradition of the physics don't make sense and they don't have to make sense. The shield's a boomerang when it has to be, and it's not when it's not. So I liked that. I also weirdly, I loved his Captain America office, lair, whatever you want to call it.
You did like the office. You're like, look at that office. That's sick.
Leaving the movie, that was one of my main takeaways. I was like, I like that. He's got a cool chill pad.
Yeah. I think like the difference between Steve Rogers and Anthony Mackie as Cap is like watching a 1940s guy play football with like the black and white. And then you're watching like the fucking monsters that the Eagles were rolling out, right?
Doing fucking jukes and twists, and I was like, oh shit. Like the action I liked in this movie for the most part. There was, every now and then there was something weird with editing or whatever, but for the most part, I thought action and CGI I had no issues with.
This is Steve Rogers. He plays for the Brooklyn, footballers.
Yeah, literally.
And then it's like Anthony Mackie is doing like Saquon hurdles backwards over people.
Yes.
To show the difference. So Anthony, if you were to do like a winners and losers for this movie, or just, all the different stuff of the post Endgame MCU, I feel like Anthony Mackie is under the loser category because I feel like he has done a good job with the role, but he has had no help from Marvel, from the people in charge of all
Joe
this
Burrow.
stuff.
Is he like the Joe Burrow right now? Where it's like, listen, he's playing well, but they're not winning.
I mean, thing is, Joe Burrow at least has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins when he's healthy. I don't even think Anthony Mackie has that right now. I guess Harrison Ford
had Harrison Ford here,
true,
and he's got Bucky Barnes when he's healthy.
When he's healthy, I like that. Yeah, so I now can see him as Cap 2.0. He's not just Captain America, but
he feels like he's a version of Cap for sure. He feels like a leading man in this movie, which I saw some people saying he didn't. I felt like he did. I felt like he was worthy of like starring here.
Yeah, maybe I'll go the NBA. But you have a guy who's your 1, your 2, and your 3. He feels like a guy who's a 2 that's being asked to do a 1, but he does a good enough job where it's like I'm not like, oh, this guy. You're going to get into like, could he win a championship? Could he be a member of a big 3?
We'll see in Doomsday,
Yeah, we shall see in Doomsday. Again, I don't think they're giving him any help through all this. Also, like, when you keep the wings on the guy and say, no, he's Cap, he's not Falcon. That motherfucker is Captain Falcon. I'm telling you right now, he's Captain Falcon. If you clip the wings, you shoot him with some super serum, you make him a fucking, like, super nice guy like Steve Rogers, I could maybe see it, but you keep the wings on him, which is fine. He's just Captain Falcon in our minds, but he does a good job being like a guy that you feel like would want to do the right thing. Good dude. Wish he'd take the fucking super. The fact he hasn't taken the super serum, I almost respect because it is such a fucking like a one guy who didn't.
He's like a sober superhero at this point. Like we should give him a chip every 6 months and be like, congratulations, you're still holding out.
That should be like an arc on The Boys where it's like the one guy who won't take the or something like that. He just has it. He's just a strong motherfucker. But yeah, I'd say all in all, he came out of this movie, I think, good for Anthony Mackie. I feel I like Anthony Mackie. I just feel like they're doing him no favors right now.
Yeah, like he always does what's asked of him. He kind of crushes everything, even on the scenes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier where he was looking for loans and they weren't giving it to him. It's kind of a goofy thing to assume a bank wouldn't give a loan to the guy who just saved the world, but like he made me believe.
Yeah.
He made me root for him in that moment. So Anthony Mackie, I would agree with everything you said. He might come out as a loser because he's not getting help, but I still really like Anthony Mackie as Cap and as Sam Wilson. President Thaddeus Ross, Red Hulk, Harrison Ford here. I really enjoyed Harrison Ford as Ross. No surprise. I fucking love Harrison Ford. And I do think this was one of those performances did not feel like he was phoning it in to me. And that's Harrison Ford. Sometimes he does phone it in. Sometimes he doesn't. This felt like he was going for it in a fun way, but it was really bittersweet. We both said it. It felt like it should have been William Hurt's time to shine. This is William Hurt's character that he developed back at 16 years ago in The Incredible Hulk. And yes, he got a lot of screen time then, but in the movies that followed, he would just be kind of a side character. He got a good amount in Civil War when he was going back and forth about the Accords and Secretary of State, but this should have been his movie. And the Betty stuff fell flat completely for me. Like, I almost wouldn't have included Betty Ross in this movie. Maybe you could have told the story about the cherry blossoms, so you get to that Red Hulk beat at the end where he's doing it. You could have him untransform, but bringing Liv Tyler in was kind of a waste to me.
It just felt weird. And it's partially because of the actor. And I think Harrison Ford, I'm with you. So as a non-Harrison Ford diehard stan who is blinded for any kind of negative, you think he's a good pilot. You would let Harrison Ford fly you on his plane. That's how
that might be where I draw the line. I might be like, Harrison, I love you, but I can't risk my life for you.
But it's tough. So it's tough that he got this role. I thought he did a good job, but it also was just like, that's not Thunderbolt Ross. And then you're trying to make it emotional, and you're doing a callback from a movie not a lot of people watched, not a lot of people liked. People might have watched. I don't know, did it bomb?
I don't think it bombed, but it came out the exact same summer as Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I know it didn't do nearly as well as Iron Man.
Because they wanted one of them to be a hit, and they thought the Hulk was going to be the hit.
Yeah, I think it was more of an afterthought that summer. And like you said, it's not like a beloved movie. Most people would put it towards the bottom of the rankings. I rewatched it to do the everything you would need to know before Captain America movie. I think it's decent. It's not a great movie. This is certainly better than that movie in my mind. But it just made me appreciate the CGI. Like looking at Red Hulk in this movie, holy shit, he looked good. Like he looked perfect. There was no Red Hulk scene where I was like, that looks a little wonky. That movie has some, I don't want to say PS2, but maybe Xbox 360 graphics.
Now, and I think that was kind of the big takeaway I had for the movie as a whole, is I think if we went in knowing Harrison Ford is Thunderbolt Ross, but not knowing there's a Red Hulk, I think that would have been a moment. And
we would have assumed, it would have been like that, like when wrestling, when some guy's coming back, but they don't announce it, and people in the crowd already have the signs waiting for them. Like that would have been the feeling we got. It would have been, I agree with you. We would have kind of known in the back of our minds, all right, it's time for Thunderbolt to become Red Hulk.
I would not have known that though, Bob. How would you have known that? Is it in the comic books?
People have been saying that for years.
Yeah.
People have been saying, like, when is he going to fucking Red Hulk out? So I think people would have assumed, but like it would have been way better if we didn't know. I also liked the way they handled it in the movie as far as teasing it with the mints. I knew right away. As soon as they show him take a mint the second time, you're like, all right, what's going on with the mints? And they're not mints, they're pills giving him gamma radiation over time. And that storyline I actually kind of liked because they do take Samuel Stearns. Is Samuel Stearns, right? Samuel Stearns. They take him in and at the end of the Incredible Hulk because he's got the Hulk blood in him, the gamma blood in his brain, and it's given him a brain mutation. Instead of super strength, it's given him super mind. Basically, he has unbelievable, impossible calculations in his mind, and he can figure out the statistics. Super mind,
super intelligence.
Got a super mind. Yeah. Obviously, I don't have a super mind.
I love him. Hey, listen, I'm guilty as it just as much as you are, if not more so. I just love when we have moments like that. That was incredible.
I got brain farts. I don't got the super mind. I don't got the gamma blood in my brain. I like the storyline of him developing tech for the military with the promise of a pardon when Ross becomes president. And then when Ross doesn't, and he's obviously giving Ross pills that keep him alive as well. They mentioned that in this movie, had heart issues. And then when he doesn't pardon him, the pills start going up and gamma radiation. And the way he makes everything dissolve, I wish we got more of the leader, to be honest. Like we got a decent amount of him, more than I thought we were going to get. but they almost should have like locked in on his creepiness.
I wish the leader seemed smarter instead of just the dude who says probability a lot. Like I wish we had seen finish an
More
equation
scenes of
like
him
Good Will
outsmarting
Hunting.
people.
Yeah, do some smart shit. Just show a couple things that it just makes you seem smart, and then you could say probability this, probability that, and you just seem one step ahead. I just wanted more, and I would imagine that the comic book fans will be upset that the leader was kind of like lame like this.
I think they might be. I think they might be upset that they didn't commit to his giant head in the comics too, and that I might be with the MCU on.
And the
I think that
goatee.
might have looked super silly. The goatee, even like the hair, he's got the slick back hair. They kind of just do like warts all over his head. I thought it was a cool character design, but I'm not married to the comic design. I've never read a comic with the leader in it. I don't have nostalgia for him or anything.
Which you said that Jose said that the leader and Red Hulk are both Hulk villains, and they threw him in a fucking Captain America movie. Which
Jose was like, that would be like putting like Mr. Freeze and Two-Face in a Wonder Woman movie. He was very surprised when I told him that, because Jose, he's my favorite because he knows more about the comics than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. But he doesn't really like care about the MCU unless it really grips his attention. So me telling him it was the leader, I think that might have been the first time he knew. He was like, whoa, the leader, what the fuck? Why would they put him in that kind of movie?
So you're talking about Captain America: Brave New World, right?
Yeah, and then he was asking
Red Hulk in it,
he was asking me about the post credits, because Jose doesn't care about spoilers or anything. He just kind of wants to know where they're going. So I told him, it winds up being spoilers, that the leader's in the raft. And he was like, oh, the raft is in the MCU? They have that in the comics. I was like, buddy, the raft has been here.
Brother, we're first name basis with the raft.
Oh, we know the raft. They didn't even have to put the text on the screen. I knew. I was like, that's the fucking raft.
Somebody had a great line where they said, the president being held, the most unrealistic part of this movie was a president being held liable for his actions. Like,
yeah, they were like, yeah, we gotta.
He's like, you know what? I fucked up. I tried to kill a bunch of people, and I'm just gonna go to jail. And it's like, you did that?
Also, here's a question. We don't know who the vice president is, right? Like, him stepping down, is the vice president now are they keeping that a secret? Is that going to be someone we know from the comics, you think?
I certainly hope they have fun with it. Or they make it worthwhile, or they follow it up if it's
Bucky Barnes running for Congress. Is he on his way to Prez? We can have POTUS Bucky.
I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it.
POTUS, like.
Yeah, that's true. He did kill an American hero and his wife.
Listen, I love Bucky. I'm a Cap guy, and I love to defend him. I think he might not be suitable for POTUS. I don't know.
I mean, not gonna say.
The other side characters in the movie, Joaquin Torres, Sabra, Sidewinder, we kind of touched on, didn't do a ton for me. I did like Isaiah Bradley's involvement in the movie. I felt like the movie picked up once he joined the picture. It was Joaquin going to meet Isaiah for the first time. I said it was like a Rocky trainer scene it came off like.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked the tease, and you knew where they were going because of the Red Hulk and the trailers and shit, of him training with Isaiah, someone with super soldier serum, and trying to get the flags off of his waist and doing like the flag football thing, because that's obviously how you're going to have to fight the Hulk later on. Basically, you're going to have to be quick and ducking and diving and getting out of the way. As soon as Isaiah joined the movie, things started to smooth out and they started getting a little less recap-y and exposition-y. I liked the White House scene. Everything with the assassination, I thought was well done. The flashing lights, the music, I liked all that. And the scene where they put him in prison and Sam goes to visit him and he's like teary-eyed. He's like, I'm going to die in here. His hair's all messed up. Like he hasn't even showered in days. And he's like, you need to do me a favor. Don't come back. He's afraid they're going to do to you what they did to me, I think. Like, you're going to fuck this up for yourself. And the way he sees a younger version of himself in Sam, and Sam sees himself in Isaiah, I really liked all that. Even their final scene, even the fucking scene, oh my God, you know what broke my heart the most? This just came back to me. I think the most heartbreaking moment of the movie is when they're arresting Isaiah. And he doesn't know what's going on. And they put him on the ground, and he keeps telling him, watch my suit, because that's the suit he married his wife in, his wife Faith. Oh my God, I'm saying watch the suit broke my heart.
That was a moment. I liked when he got the suit on, right? And they're having fun in the car. I will say that and this is admittedly a nitpick, but it was someone that I was just like, they said, and we took a photo together. We took a photo together. We took a photo on the phone, and the phone
It
was
was
on the press. I was like,
way too obvious.
and that was a
They
lot
were
of the stuff we didn't like in the
spoon-feeding us.
beginning. Yes.
Yeah. It was the airdrop's not working. My phone's being wonky. Oh, you must be an old man. Like, it was a lot of just hammering us over the head with that. There's the jokes. I think we talked about it on My Mom's Basement at some point. Someone said that Netflix shows, they tell the writers to like actively describe what's happening in the scene so people could have it on in the background and not be watching, but still understand. And it's like a little bit of the beginning of this movie felt like that. Where they were like, make sure you're actively describing everything that's happening. The audience can't follow if you're not doing that. It's like a lot, even one of the first lines that Harrison Ford has, he's like, have you heard from Betty? And they're like, no. He's like, my daughter? And they're like, no. And they're like, hasn't been the same since back then. It's like, yeah, we know. Like, that is surface level stuff. That's, if you don't know that, you watch the videos like the one I made.
Liv Tyler. She's the elf in Lord of the Rings. If you don't know her,
like
Steven Tyler's daughter.
And the whole time I'm waiting for her to come back. I'm thinking maybe she drives in, sees what's happening on the news with her dad, and she talks him off the ledge and brings him down. It was practically like the post-credit scene where they bring him in. It was like, it was such a nothing thing. And I almost think, was she meant to be a secret cameo that none of us knew about happening? Because we all knew she was at the red carpet and announced for the movie. I think she was in the cast. But why would you announce that if that's the only thing she was doing? Why would you even call her up and bring her back?
Yeah, I thought we were out when they were talking about her in the beginning. I said, "Oh shit, she's going to play a major role in all this." And just the thought of the cherry blossoms, well, which was an important thing, but that had nothing to do with the actual actress. So, yeah, it was tough all around. Have you ever seen Cherry Blossoms live?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I've heard they are incredible, and I had plans once.
They have them in New York. Kelly Keegs goes every year.
Oh, I thought she went to DC every year to see the DC ones because that's what they're known for.
I think she probably has, but I think there's like a botanical garden. Is that what you call it? I think there's a garden in New York where you could go, but it's like, they're up for like 10 days or something, and then they're gone.
I've heard they're awesome, and I want to go to DC. It will happen one year, maybe this year.
Yeah, they shot this movie in DC. I was actually surprised to see that. Huh?
Think they've cleaned up the wreckage from the Red Hulk fight?
No chance. Michael Keaton's cleaning that up. His crew from fucking Homecoming. Were you surprised that Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Ross survived this movie? I was actually stunned because it almost feels like he'll probably appear at some point. Are they going to do World War Hulk? And it makes sense if you're building to a crazy Hulk movie. But I was like, Harrison Ford signed a multi-picture deal? I thought he was signing here to be like, sure, one and done to fucking wrap up this character. I don't give a fuck. This will be how I join the MCU.
Do you think they kept him alive because Thunderbolts might have stuff to do with him?
Maybe. We were talking about that too. Like, what's going on with Thunderbolts? Why are they called Thunderbolts? I know in the comics because he puts together the team and stuff, but Val's putting together this team.
And maybe they're
involved at all?
We can't call ourselves that because he just tried to murder a bunch of people.
Oh, maybe that's the line in the trailer. He's like, he's fucking canceled, dude. We can't.
Yeah, he's canceled.
That would be funny.
The Red Hulk.
I actually like that.
Funny. Yeah,
I like that. Maybe he started to put together the team, like Val was working under him. Didn't feel like that, to be honest, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now that you said like this would have been the time to eliminate him, if he doesn't have anything to do with that or like projects in the near future, that probably would have been the move. Using Harrison Ford one and done would have sucked, however. And
yeah,
you said it perfectly too. When he's doing his press stuff and he's actually being positive, and they had the line where he was like, "How could you? Would you feel silly acting like the Red Hulk?" He goes, "That's what the money is for."
It's so good.
That was such a great.
They're like, it's like magic. Yeah, he goes, "It's not magic, it's commerce." Harrison Ford was having fun on this press tour. I think he likes Anthony Mackie. I think Harrison Ford, from watching so many interviews with him over the years, his enjoyment level on press tours and movies relies entirely on who he's with. Like when he was with Ryan Gosling for Blade Runner 2049, I've never seen him have more fun ever. He was drinking scotch during interviews, crying, laughing, joking, singing, like absolutely loved life. This time he's having a blast too. I think he needs like a young bro. I think Harrison just wants a young bro, maybe someone that'll smoke weed with him. We know he's like a crazy stoner. Maybe he just wants someone that'll go out back, smoke a quick joint, and then they laugh and be goofy in their interviews.
He's like the old horse that needs like the young puppy or the goat in the stable with him, and it like makes him run harder and faster. I don't know, but it's always nice when Harrison Ford. You feel like, man, Harrison Ford's gonna be so pissed if I go see this movie because he fucking hates it, right?
Yeah.
Didn't feel like the case with this one.
Let's tell everyone real quick about another one of our sponsors, Turtle Beach. Winter has arrived, but don't panic. It's not a bad thing. It's an excuse to cancel all plans, slap on your Turtle Beach headset, and game until the sun finally decides to come back. I'm not wearing mine right now because it's in the living room. I've been wearing it for Marvel Rivals, and it's absolutely amazing. The best headset I have ever worn for gaming, and that's not just like an ad read thing. It's the Stealth 700 that I have. It's the Gen 3 Stealth 700. It is so comfortable, crystal clear sound. It's basically cheating, they say. It's not cheating, but it's like Super Soldier Serum. You basically have the Super Soldier Serum of headphones. It's amazing. Clem, you got to get it if you're getting on Marvels as well.
Not only that, young Clem, AJ Clem is obsessed.
Did I call it Marvels? I meant Rivals. I can't
Marvel Rivals.
My brain's fried. It's a long day.
That's an old man move. That's something I'm happy that I wasn't the one who did it, but AJ is obsessed with it. And I tell him, I said, I got to get you some headphones so he can play while I'm doing the podcast because I don't want to hear all the stuff on it. So I'm going to get him to Turtle Beach and he's going to absolutely love it. And every parent at this point, when their kids are this age and they're obsessed with video games, you go, maybe we have it's in the past when they threw a baseball, maybe he'll become a pro athlete. Maybe he'll become a pro gamer. That's kind of what I'm hoping
for.
Pro
gamer
now.
Or streamer. There's multiple avenues now. They don't even have to be good at games. They could just be entertaining. And from what I've seen of AJ Clem, he's pretty entertaining.
They don't have to be entertaining from what I've seen on YouTube because he watches them. They just can be loud and use the right friggin' they scream and they use the right sound effects. They use the one from Metal Gear Solid, the what and the ba-dum, 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 the Flintstones feet thing. That's all they use. And my wife and I are at our wits' end. I apologize for going on a tangent there, but it's been a long night. I can't believe
but this is a perfect tangent for the ad, Clem, because you get the headphones and you never have to worry about that. I'm sure there's plenty of parents listening that are in the same spot as you, and they're, how do I get rid of these sounds? Tell you what, just buy your kids the Turtle Beach Gen 3 700 Stealth 700.
Beautiful.
This winter, it is the best gift you can get. And if you head to turtlebeach.com and use the code BASEMENT, you will get 10% off your entire order. Not just on this headset. You could add other headsets. You could get headsets for the entire family. It's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with the promo code BASEMENT. Thank you, Turtle Beach. And another old man thing that I always laugh about, this past weekend, this absolute fraud Trent tweeted, after the Thunderbolts Super Bowl trailer, he goes, definitely keep making Marvel movies. We all want them. And I favorited it. And I said, yeah, we all do. And then I thought to my second, wait a minute. I think he's being sarcastic here. But that was strange to me, Clem, because I introduced this man to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he loved every movie he watched. He would come out of his room when we were living together going, I just watched another one. People aren't talking about this. Iron Man is amazing. And I'm like, people have been talking about it, you fucking corn-fed Trent. So we got into a little back and forth on Twitter. I said, you're a fraud, aiming for Twitter likes. This is not you. People pulled up the receipts of him talking about it.
Ooh.
But my favorite old man thing he did when he watched Avengers, when he got to the first Avengers in his little watch along of the universe, he rented it from YouTube. And I don't know if you know this, but there was a movie called The Avengers in the UK, or a TV show called The Avengers.
Oh, God.
So in the UK, they had to call it Marvel's The Avengers. And I swear for months, Trent would be like, you know what movie I fucking love? Marvel's The Avengers. Have you guys seen Marvel's The Avengers? And he would throw that in front of it every time. And it was such a noob thing, but it kind of warmed my heart. I didn't even want to correct him. I wanted him to just keep going. Like, have you guys seen the fucking movie Marvel's The Avengers? It was just like every time he would really do the full title.
That is an old man thing. And Trent's an old man. He used to be a young boy in these parts. He's quickly become a young man, and he's become a fraud, a goddamn fraud. It breaks my heart.
It really pissed me off seeing that. I was just like, that's not you, Trent. That's, you know what that is we've been apart for too long. If we were still living together, he would never say something like that. Maybe he needs to move in with me and Lady Fox. Maybe we need to be like the Full House situation.
That'd be like a sitcom. Trent, bachelor moves in with a couple of fiancés and a dog. That could definitely. But I know it's the Super Bowl and everyone feels they have to get their takes off and their tweets off. Talking about the commercial, the halftime show, and the game, whatever. Why, Trent? Why do you have to do that? Why have to
Shut up,
break up?
Trent.
Shut up, Trent. Shut
Shut
up.
up, Trent.
One of the funniest things on the dog walk is me and Trent are usually end up on the same shows, and we always vote Trent off, and we always like just shit on his draft the whole time. And people are like, he had the best draft. Why is everyone doing this? So it's a kind of a great little, I don't even want to call it a bit because it's not planned at all. But I think I'm gonna I have kind of hate Trent now. I hate him. That's not true. I love him.
Nah, you can't hate
Trent
Trent.
so much.
Yeah.
Impressing
all
his
right.
gal friends. Country club guys. I've
I
never
know.
watched Marvel.
I would never watch Marvel. Have you guys seen Tin Cup by chance? Fuck off, Trent. To end this, I would like to talk about some pros of the movie, just personally at least, things that I liked about the movie, things maybe that I've already mentioned here, but I'd like to recap. Sam Wilson, overall, his performance, yes. His character arc, no, but his performance as Sam Wilson, I believe him. I also trust him to lead the Avengers. And that says a lot. I know that says a lot. Because a lot of people right now are like, I don't know if we trust him right now because he hasn't been able to put up solo wins. But I think with all the help, maybe that's like fucking putting Luca on the team, sports.
Sports.
Sports reference.
Sports.
That was good. His fucking base, his home base, like I said, his Cap Lair. I don't know if it has a name in the comics, but I loved his office. I thought the action scenes were great. I thought what we got of the leader, I really liked. There were some creepy leader scenes where he goes in and shoots the couple in the house, and you have that behind the back scene. I love him cutting into broadcasts. I loved him cutting into the broadcast at the end that President Ross trying to make the speech. He's talking over the loudspeakers. I love when that happens in movies overall, like General Zod cutting into the TV stations to tell Earth, if you don't give up Superman, we're coming for you. One of my favorite moments in the whole DCEU, probably my favorite scene in that movie. Even when the villain in The Incredibles 2 does it, that's like the one really memorable scene from that movie for me. So maybe that's just a personal favorite. The action I really liked. The actual plot with the leader, I was a fan of. I don't know if it could have led the whole movie, like the leader pitting US and Japan against each other because of his personal things. It did feel a little TV show-ish.
The leader is not his scenes where he was, like you said, when he's like, these are my henchmen. They're now going to attack you. And I'm going to
oh
leave.
my God. I meant to mention that when they go to confront him in the lair, the basement, with just the Winter Soldier Zola scene, they're trying to recreate the energy of that for sure. And he's just like, yeah, henchman, come into the room, like Clem said, and he just comes out. It is straight up video game cutscene material where the camera kind of pans out as Joaquin and Sam are standing there ready to start fighting, and then they start fighting. And the fight scene itself is good, but how you get there, a lot of clunky things to get there. And it reminded me, so Civil War, people criticize Civil War because it takes so many coincidences to get to where they get to in Civil War. And I get that, but I kind of don't care. In my brain, I'm like, whatever, the coincidences fucking happened.
Yeah,
all of the coincidences also happen in this movie, but they just write it into the plot where they're like, yeah, because the leader's the smartest person and he did all the statistical probability to make sure those things would happen. But they take a lot of just liberties of like, yeah, and this would happen, and then they would go there, and then all the stuff with the stealing the adamantium, and we don't know if he's working for this and this serpent society, and you could tell that was probably cut up in reshoots and stuff, but it was just confusing and unnecessary.
Also, can we just call a spade? And I didn't think of this until after we left the movie. I think U.S. versus Japan in a war, obviously that already did happen once, and it was a very bloody bad war. I think China versus U.S. would have had a lot more gravity to it, but they know they're opening this movie in China, and they and
it's projecting to do great. They're like, definitely not the Chinese. They would never, the communists, they would never come after America. No.
During that scene, and I don't know if you noticed this, when the leader's on his microphone, his headphones, right?
Yeah.
And he's like getting him pissed and he's starting to get all mad. And I know this is all just part of, they're just doing it. And there's a million ways he could have done this. But it was like the Tyler, the Creator tweet where he's like, cyberbullying.
Just close your eyes.
Just log off. Like, just take the headphone off and he can't.
Yeah. It's just like that. Anymore. Did you see that fucking Carry On movie? The Netflix movie?
I did not see it. No, I didn't see it.
The whole plot of that movie is like the terrorist, the spoilers. It's not really a big spoiler for this movie, though. It's in the trailer. The terrorist is talking to Taron Egerton over his headset, and everyone's like, bro, the movie's over if you take that headset out and throw it out. Like, the movie's over. Like that.
Just
So
tough.
yeah, again, I know we've nitpicked a lot about this movie. I genuinely left it being like, I enjoyed that. I rated it 3 stars on my letterbox, 3 out of 5 balls.
They go on the ball scale letterbox, huh?
Yeah, they do go on the ball scale. And obviously, we can go on the ball scale as I negotiated the IP for that before Glennie left Barstool full time. But here on My Mom's Basement, we go by a fast food scale, which, if you're new to the show, we just compare it to a fast food item and kind of give reasoning as to why. Clem, would you like to kick off today's fast food review?
Sure thing, Bob. I'd be honored to. So, knew I was getting into something I wasn't probably going to love. Hope for the best. Caps have been good in the past.
Great.
Great in the past, depending on good, great. I think both those words can be used for certain Cap movies.
I would say all three. I think most people would say first one's good, next two are great.
Yes, I think it did get better. This kind of did happen with me somewhat recently with the kids. I took them to their first Burger King because we don't have a ton near us, and they actually randomly put one in not too far. I said, let me get them the Crown, just live that whole life.
Of course.
And it was the first time I had the nuggets in years. I think the last time I had the nuggets, I don't know if they were dino shapes. There was some sort of
I was going to say, I can't even tell you what shape they're in because if I go to Burger King, which is rare, but if I go, I get the chicken fries.
See, that's the chicken fries have taken over. I'm a big rodeo burger guy, which, the rodeo burger, I think I've compared to a movie in the past. It's a top-notch item on there. It's also relatively cheap. The nuggets, though, man, they let me down. And I'm like, how could you make a bad nugget? And it's kind of like, how could you make a bad Captain America movie? And it happened. And it's like, I guess there's a baseline that it can't be too bad because it's still a crispy fried piece of chicken without bones in it, right? But, there's a whole lot of other nuggets out there, and they're better than this one. So, Burger King nuggets, current version. Old Burger King nuggets. Burger King is at a very...
Old Burger King nuggets, Steve Rogers.
Yes, exactly. Current Burger King nuggets. I don't want to say Anthony Mackie's Cap because that's not fair to Anthony Mackie. We'll just say Brave New World Cap.
The chefs.
Yes.
It's the chefs, not the nuggets or something.
Yes, exactly.
So I love when we are aligned on reviews like this, and I feel like we're pretty aligned here because my fast food review, I based around a new item because this is a Brave New World.
Okay.
So I said a new item that I was excited for, and I think when I had it, I wanted to like it more than I actually did like it, but it was still fine, and I would still throw it on an order every now and then. But it's probably not going to add to the normal order. It's Taco Bell's chicken nuggets. Have you had the Taco Bell chicken nuggets? They just added them to the menu.
I actually like them. I like them a lot.
I liked them as well. I got them twice now. Maybe it was just the second time I got them. They were not. They were just not as good. I think I wanted to like these more the first time I had them.
So we did a Snack Boys review on them. They came late. They forgot all the sauces. Now, this is the thing. Did you get the sauces? There's 3 different kinds of sauces.
The first time I did, the second time I didn't.
See, that's the thing. And and then there's also you can use the nacho cheese sauce.
Which is big, yeah.
I personally like a nice, crispy, crunchy even. And sometimes I can live with a dry white meat nugget or chicken. I'm fine with that. I realize it's not the case for everybody. So that's why I personally like the Taco Bell. And I do like that they use the little tortillas as the breading.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
However, listen, maybe I'll go back and have a better experience. But yeah.
Eddie didn't love them. So it's like, I see where you're coming from. I see how that ties into this review. And I think it's a good call.
And that's this Cat movie for me. I enjoyed it. Am I going to go back and rewatch it? I'll probably have it on in the background while I work one day, but it's not some. I have tickets to see it on Sunday morning, but it's not something that I'm like, oh my god, Deadpool and Wolverine. When we saw that, I immediately was like, I can't wait to come back to the theater and see this with a big crowd and people cheer. And there's those moments. This isn't one of those movies. It's unfortunately one of those movies that I think if you're like me, you're gonna enjoy it and kind of move on. If you're not like me and you are more down on the Marvel universe, I think you're going to be more down on this movie. I think it's either going to do nothing for you, you're going to say it's okay, or you're going to hate it. And I would be surprised if you absolutely hated it. Like some of the people that are like, it is absolutely dreadful, unwatchable schlock, like one of the worst things Marvel's ever done. I feel like that's over the top, crazy exaggeration. If you're a Marvel fan and you watch this, I would be shocked if you absolutely hated it. I said that with Love and Thunder though, so I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think it sucked. I do think it was aggressively mid. I thought that was the perfect way to describe it. So
I thought it was good, but if I were recommending or talking about this movie to anyone else, I would say it was okay to good.
now this is kind of how I think of these movies in general. Now, you discussing seeing the rewatchability. Excuse me. The best is I am going to rewatch this movie. Like when it comes on Disney Plus. No, in the theater, I'm going to see it again. This happened with Deadpool. Yeah. This happened obviously with the big Avengers movies, all that kind of stuff. Then there's the like almost the cousin of that. It's like not only that, I'm also going like the better version is like I'm going to look for the clips on Twitter in the meantime. Like I was like I got to watch that bye scene from Deadpool as soon as I got.
I don't care if it's a bootleg. Yeah,
I was like fine. I'm going to have to live with the bootleg versions of it. So that's like basically as good as you can get is that kind of stuff. Then it's like the next level is like I'll watch it in the background or I'll turn it on at home here and there. Then there's I'm gonna YouTube the good clips. I'm gonna watch the good fight,
which is kind of where the Falcon and Winter Soldier falls, right?
I'd say yeah. I'll watch the Red Hulk fight here and there just to like.
The Red Hulk fight was great, very good. That is the one scene I would go back to. I agree, and really probably rewatch first. Everything about that fight was really well done, and I sort of like believed that this non-super soldier was fighting the Red Hulk for a bit because he was getting fucked up. And that's what I like about my heroes. We talk about that all the time. McClane and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Kind of like when my heroes are getting fucked up.
Yep. A little bit of, they're not the strongest guys in the world, but they have
them.
And
now,
the worst is like, I don't want to watch this ever again. And let's be honest, there was more than a few of those recently in Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I will actively avoid seeing that on my screen.
Yeah. The one thing, and we've seen the Hulk do this, so it's established in the universe and it's not like outlandish, but when you watch the Red Hulk jump, that is a little bit like, all right, the rest of this, the Eternal in the ocean, I could believe, but the Red Hulk can jump from the White House to the Washington Monument. That was hops like I've never seen before.
That was actually one of my takeaways from the movie. I'm happy you brought that up. I'll bring it up here just right at the end. It kind of just made me like, fuck, I want some more Hulk in my life. I think we
maybe
said
World War Hulk.
Past.
Maybe they could get there now. And
not Hulk
just
son.
Forget that fucking son. Yeah, we were on the same page there. Yeah, just forget you ever introduced the son, and not for any like I don't know anything about the comic son. He could be cool, not for any other reason other than the haircut and the Mark Ruffalo face you put on him.
Kill that motherfucker with rocks. Just kill him. I don't think,
hey, if they do that, maybe this was their reason for bringing Betty in, so they could have Betty meet the Hulk. And then, like I said in my preview video, maybe she'll have a joke about like, hey, why don't you look like Ed Norton anymore?
That could work.
She's like, or maybe they meet her. She's like, you're not really my type anymore.
How about they kill the Hulk's son, and that's what makes Smart Hulk into fucking crazy, bloodthirsty Savage Hulk?
I think the Hulk's son in the comics is supposed to be dating one of Wanda's kids, and that discourse would be like lighting a fuse with the MCU.
Problematic. I could see that. Yeah. We're not going to go there. Not on this.
We're not going to go there. We ain't going there. And this movie, honestly, doesn't really go there with politics or anything like that either. I know some people were like, this is going to be the woke Captain America movie. It truly is not that at all. Like there's no heavy-handed woke messaging in this movie. There's no messaging on the other side. They kind of stayed down the middle politically, I would say. Yeah. And I appreciated that at least. Like, I don't want to be hit over the head with the stuff that I have to deal with in real life.
Yeah. I think, was Thunderbolt shot before we said that they kind of were like, all right, we're going to start making Marvel movies fucking.
I don't think so. Because when they started shooting Thunderbolts, there was that quote from Wyatt Russell where he said, it's time to make a fucking good Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So hopefully this is the last one where it's like, all right, I'm giving you guys a pass because it was during a really tough time. But at the same point, like I'm going in, like, be honest, I probably graded him on a curve. We went
like I would be shocked if this wasn't the worst Marvel movie of the year. If Thunderbolts is worse than this, I would be really, really surprised. If Fantastic Four isn't as good as this, we're not even going to talk about that. We're not even going to talk.
Time's coming down. If that happens,
it is coming down and going in the garage, and not just like up against the wall in the garage. We're putting it back in the box with the bubble wrap, and yeah.
I'm not even using the bubble wrap. I'm gonna pop the bubble wrap
Right in
for
the
fun.
cardboard.
Just goes in the cardboard.
But we're
If
not
it
even
breaks, it
talking about
breaks.
that.
No,
We're
not
staying
gonna talk about that.
positive.
Good call.
Fantastic Four is going to be, pun intended, fantastic, and Marvel will be so bad. This is salvageable, guys. This is the MCU is not dead. The reports of its death are highly exaggerated. And this movie, I see as an absolute win, to quote the Hulk, because I think we are at a level where if the next two are good and they nail the next two Avengers, we are perfect for a soft reboot focused around the mutants and the Fantastic Four. And does that not sound amazing?
Sounds great, Bob.
Tom
Dr.
Holland
Doom
signing up for
causing
another
craziness.
Spider-Man trilogy. I just read that. Apparently he's getting 3 more Spider-Man movies. I fucking love the sound of that. We're in a good spot, guys. We're in a good spot. Next week, come back. We will be talking Invincible. I'll catch up on your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm doing another Marvel Rival stream Tuesday at 4, so make sure to look out for that. I'm playing ranked now. Very fun streams. I've been playing with the chat. I've been playing with listeners. Very, very fun stuff. And look out for, honestly, a bunch of nerd news next week that we didn't get to this week. We'll be piled up, and I think it'll be a good show. So thanks to everyone for tuning in. Hopefully you liked Brave New World as much as me, or maybe even more than me. I would say if you're like Clem, unfortunate that you didn't absolutely love it. I know we all wanted to love this movie, but you win some, you lose some. This one, I see as an absolute win.